Hello, travelers. Tonight, we are going to explore something that takes billions of years to unfold. Something so slow, so patient, so gradual, that no human has ever witnessed the complete cycle. We are going to follow the life of a star, from birth to death, from darkness to light, and back to darkness again, through timescales so vast that they make human history seem like a single breath. So settle in, let your body rest, let your mind slow down, because we are entering deep time now, cosmic time. Time measured not in minutes or years, but in millions and billions of years. And in this vastness, in this patience, perhaps you will find rest. Let us begin in the darkness, in the cold, in the vast spaces between stars where almost nothing exists, where the density of matter is so low that you might find only a few atoms in a cubic meter of space. This is the interstellar medium, the space between stars. Not empty, exactly, but close to empty. So sparse that it seems like nothing at all. And yet, here and there, in certain regions of space, this thin gas and dust begins to gather. Slowly, very slowly. Over hundreds of thousands of years, gravity pulls particles together. One atom attracts another, then another, then another. The gathering is so gradual that if you could watch it happen, you would see nothing change. You could watch for 1,000 years and see no difference. But the accumulation continues, patient, inevitable, following the quiet pull of gravity. Over immense periods, clouds form, giant clouds of gas and dust called nebulae. Some of these clouds are enormous, hundreds of light years across, containing enough material to create thousands or millions of stars. The Orion Nebula, for example, is one of these stellar nurseries. It sits about 1,500 light years away from Earth. Inside its glowing clouds, new stars are being born right now, have been for millions of years, will continue for millions more. But we cannot see the birth happening. It is too slow, too hidden, too gradual. Let us imagine we could watch. Let us imagine we could speed up time, compress millions of years into moments, and witness what takes place inside these dark clouds. Deep within a nebula, in the darkest, coldest regions, the gas begins to clump. Denser pockets form, and once a pocket reaches a certain density, something changes. Gravity becomes stronger. The pocket begins to pull in more material from its surroundings. This is the beginning, the first stirring of stellar birth. A region of space that was once just slightly denser than its surroundings becomes the seed of a star. As more material falls inward, the pocket grows. It begins to spin. All clouds in space have some rotation, and as material collapses inward, that rotation speeds up. Like a figure skater pulling in their arms, the spinning accelerates. And as it spins, as it contracts, something remarkable happens. The center begins to warm, not quickly, not dramatically, but gradually, over tens of thousands of years. The compression of gas generates heat. Particles collide more frequently. Energy accumulates. Temperature rises. This forming object is called a protostar, not yet a true star, not yet generating its own light through nuclear fusion, but a star in the making, an infant star gathering mass, heating up, preparing for the moment of ignition. The protostar grows. It pulls in more and more material from the surrounding cloud. It can become billions of kilometers across at this stage. Vast, diffuse, still mostly cold, still dark, still hidden inside the nebula that gave it birth. For about 100,000 years, this continues. The slow accumulation, the gradual heating, the patient gathering of mass that will determine everything about the star's future. How much material the protostar collects will decide whether it becomes a small, dim, long-lived star or a massive, bright, short-lived one. Will decide whether it burns for 10 billion years or only a few million. Will decide whether it dies quietly or explodes catastrophically. But the protostar does not know this. It simply gathers, spins, heats, follows the inevitable logic of gravity and physics. And then, after so much waiting, after so much slow preparation, something extraordinary happens. The core temperature reaches 15 million degrees Celsius. At this temperature, at this pressure, hydrogen atoms begin to fuse. 4 hydrogen nuclei combine to form one helium nucleus. And in that combination, a tiny amount of mass converts to energy. Pure energy, light, heat, the power that will make the star shine. Nuclear fusion ignites. The star is born. This moment, this ignition, marks the true beginning of the star's life. Before this, it was becoming. Now it is. A main sequence star, a hydrogen-burning furnace that will shine steadily for millions or billions of years. The energy released by fusion creates an outward pressure. This pressure pushes against the inward pull of gravity, and for the first time, the star reaches equilibrium, balance. The compression of gravity meets the expansion of fusion, and the star stabilizes. It will remain in this balance for most of its life. For what we call the main sequence phase, the longest, most stable period in a star's existence. Our sun is in this phase right now, has been for about 5 billion years, will remain for another 5 billion years, burning hydrogen, converting mass to energy, shining steadily, maintaining the delicate balance between gravity and pressure. During this time, almost nothing changes. The star burns, day after day, year after year, century after century, millennium after millennium, for time spans so long that civilizations rise and fall, species evolve and go extinct, continents drift across planets, and still the star burns on, barely changing at all. This is the patience of stars. This is cosmic time. This is what it means to exist on stellar scales. A star like our sun will spend about 10 billion years in the main sequence phase. 10 billion years of steady burning, of hydrogen fusing into helium, of light pouring out into space, traveling for years or centuries before reaching distant planets, distant eyes, distant observers who might look up and wonder about its nature. But eventually, inevitably, the hydrogen in the core begins to run low. Not all at once, not suddenly, but gradually. Over millions of years, the fuel depletes. The core becomes more and more helium, less and less hydrogen. The fusion rate slows. The energy output decreases slightly, and gravity, which has been held at bay for billions of years, begins to win. The core contracts, compresses. As it compresses, it heats up. And this heat allows hydrogen in the shell around the core, hydrogen that was not hot enough to fuse before, to begin fusing. The star responds to this change in a way that seems counterintuitive. As the core contracts and heats, the outer layers expand. The star grows larger, much larger, hundreds or thousands of times its original size. And as it expands, it cools. The surface temperature drops. The color changes from white or yellow to orange or red. The star has become a red giant. In about 5 billion years, our sun will enter this phase. It will swell to perhaps 100 times its current diameter, large enough to engulf the inner planets. Mercury will be swallowed. Venus will be swallowed. Earth might be swallowed. or might survive at the very edge, baked and lifeless, orbiting through the outer atmosphere of the dying sun. But this will not happen quickly. The transition takes millions of years, a gradual swelling, a slow cooling, a patient transformation from one state to another. During the red giant phase, the core continues to contract, the temperature continues to rise, and eventually, after enough time, after enough compression, the core reaches 100 million degrees. At this temperature, a new kind of fusion becomes possible: helium fusion. 3 helium nuclei combine to form carbon, and this releases energy, though less energy than hydrogen fusion. The star stabilizes again for a time, burns helium in its core while still burning hydrogen in a shell around the core, maintains its giant size, continues to shine though redder and cooler than before. But helium, like hydrogen, is finite, and the core is smaller now, containing less fuel than before. So the helium burning phase is shorter. For a sun-like star, perhaps a few 100 million years, a brief period compared to the billions of years on the main sequence. And then, the helium runs out too. The core contracts again, heats again. But this time, for a star like the Sun, the temperature never gets high enough to fuse carbon. The core cannot ignite the next stage of fusion. It simply contracts until it cannot contract anymore. At this point, the core becomes something strange. Something called electron degeneracy pressure supports it now, not thermal pressure. The electrons in the atoms resist being compressed further, and this resistance holds the core up against gravity. The core has become a white dwarf, a small, hot, incredibly dense object about the size of Earth, but containing as much mass as the Sun once had. A teaspoon of white dwarf material would weigh as much as an elephant. But the outer layers of the star are still there, still expanding, still glowing, and they become unstable. The star begins to pulsate. The outer layers expand and contract, each pulse stronger than the last. And finally, the outer layers are ejected, cast off into space. They form an expanding shell of glowing gas around the white dwarf core. This shell is called a planetary nebula, though it has nothing to do with planets. Early astronomers with small telescopes thought these objects looked like planets, and the name stuck. The planetary nebula expands into space, glowing for tens of thousands of years as the ultraviolet radiation from the white dwarf energizes the gas. It forms beautiful, complex shapes: rings, hourglasses, spheres, each one unique, each one a stellar fingerprint, the last breath of a dying star. Over time, the planetary nebula fades, the gas disperses into the interstellar medium, and all that remains is the white dwarf, small, hot, slowly cooling, radiating its stored heat into the void. A white dwarf cools very slowly, so slowly that the universe is not yet old enough for any white dwarf to have cooled completely. But eventually, after trillions of years, long after the last stars have formed and died, white dwarfs will cool to become black dwarfs, cold, dark, invisible spheres of carbon and oxygen floating through space, the final remnants of stars like our Sun. This is the fate of low-mass and medium-mass stars, about 97% of all stars, a long life on the main sequence, a brief expansion into a red giant, the creation of a planetary nebula, and the eternal cooling of a white dwarf. But some stars, the massive ones, the stars born with 8 or 10 or 20 times the mass of the Sun, these stars follow a different path, a more violent path, a more spectacular path. Let us follow one of these massive stars through its life. It begins the same way, in a nebula, gathering mass, forming a protostar, igniting fusion, entering the main sequence. But because it is so massive, because it has so much fuel, the gravitational pressure in its core is immense. The fusion rate is very high. It burns through its hydrogen not in 10 billion years, but in a few million years. The massive star is bright, very bright, thousands or tens of thousands of times brighter than the sun. It floods its surroundings with intense radiation and stellar wind. It shapes the nebula around it, creating cavities, triggering the formation of other stars, dominating its environment. But its brilliance comes at a yatala cost. The faster it burns, the shorter it lives. Like a candle with a large flame, it consumes itself quickly. After only a few million years, the hydrogen in the core is exhausted. The core contracts, heats. The star becomes a red supergiant, even larger than a red giant. Some supergiants grow so large that, if placed where our sun is, their surface would extend past the orbit of Jupiter. Betelgeuse, the bright red star in the constellation Orion, is a red supergiant, and it is near the end of its life. It might explode as a supernova tomorrow, or in 100,000 years. We cannot know for certain, but when it does explode, it will be visible from Earth even in daylight. A new star appearing in the sky, brighter than anything except the sun and moon. But let us continue following our massive star. As the core contracts and heats, helium fusion begins. The star burns helium into carbon and oxygen. And because the core is so hot, so compressed, the helium phase lasts only a few 100,000 years. Then carbon fusion begins. Carbon fuses into neon and magnesium. This phase lasts perhaps a few thousand years. Then neon fusion, lasting only a few years. Then oxygen fusion, lasting about a year. Then silicon fusion, lasting only days or weeks. Each stage is shorter than the last. Each stage produces heavier elements. Each stage releases less energy. The star is running downhill now, running faster and faster toward an inevitable end. The core becomes layered, like an onion, silicon burning in the center, oxygen burning in a shell around that, carbon, helium, hydrogen, each burning in their own shell, each adding to the core of inert material at the center. And at the center, iron accumulates. Iron is the end of the line. Iron cannot fuse to release energy. Fusing iron requires energy rather than releasing it. So when the core becomes iron, fusion stops. The energy production stops. The outward pressure stops. And gravity, which has been waiting for billions of years, which has been held back by the force of fusion for the star's entire life, finally wins. The core collapses, not gradually, not slowly, but catastrophically. In less than a second, the iron core, which might be larger than Earth, collapses to a sphere perhaps 20 kilometers across. The collapse is so violent, so rapid, that it creates a shock wave. The shock wave rebounds from the collapsed core and travels outward through the star. It encounters the outer layers, which are still falling inward, and the collision releases an unimaginable amount of energy. The star explodes. This is a supernova, one of the most energetic events in the universe. For a few weeks, a single supernova can outshine an entire galaxy of hundreds of billions of stars. The explosion releases more energy than the sun will emit in its entire 10 billion year lifetime. The outer layers of the star are blasted into space at speeds of 10,000 kilometers per second or more. The material, enriched with heavy elements created in the star and in the explosion itself, floods the surrounding region. It creates new nebulae, triggers the formation of new stars, seeds the interstellar medium with the building blocks of planets and life. Every atom in your body heavier than hydrogen and helium was created in a star. The carbon in your cells, the oxygen you breathe, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones. All of it was forged in stellar cores and scattered by supernovae. You are made of star material. You are the universe looking at itself. But what happens to the core? The collapsed core, compressed beyond anything found in normal matter, has become something extraordinary. If the core's mass is between about 1 and 3 times the mass of the Sun, it becomes a neutron star. A neutron star is matter compressed so densely that protons and electrons are forced together to form neutrons. The entire mass of the Sun compressed into a sphere the size of a city, so dense that a teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh as much as a mountain. Neutron stars spin rapidly, often many times per second, and they have incredibly strong magnetic fields. If the magnetic field is aligned properly, the neutron star can emit beams of radiation from its magnetic poles. As it spins, these beams sweep across space like a lighthouse beam. If Earth happens to be in the path of the beam, we detect regular pulses of radiation. These are called pulsars. The first pulsar was discovered in 1967. The pulses were so regular, so precise, that initially astronomers thought they might be signals from an alien civilization. They even nicknamed the signal LGM-1 for Little Green Men 1. But soon they realized they were detecting neutron stars, spinning relentlessly in the aftermath of supernovae. A neutron star will spin for millions or billions of years, gradually slowing down as it loses energy. Eventually it will cool. Eventually it will stop pulsing. Eventually it will become a cold, dark, dense sphere, invisible and nearly undetectable, floating through space for the rest of time. But if the core of the supernova is more massive, if it contains more than about 3 times the mass of the Sun, even neutron degeneracy pressure cannot support it. The collapse continues. The core shrinks past the point of no return. It becomes a black hole, a region of space where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. The core has collapsed to a point, a singularity surrounded by an event horizon, the boundary beyond which nothing can return. Black holes do not emit light. They are perfectly dark, invisible. They can only be detected by their gravitational effects on nearby matter or by the radiation emitted by material falling into them. And yet, black holes are not the end of the story. Material falling into a black hole releases enormous amounts of energy. Some of the most luminous objects in the universe are powered by black holes. Quasars, blazing at the centers of distant galaxies, are supermassive black holes consuming matter. They can outshine entire galaxies. Black holes can persist for unimaginable lengths of time, trillions upon trillions of years, long after all the stars have died, long after the universe has grown cold and dark. Black holes will remain, slowly evaporating through a process called Hawking radiation, losing mass so gradually that even small black holes will take longer than the current age of the universe to disappear. And when the last black hole finally evaporates, when the last particle of matter has decayed, when the universe has expanded so much that nothing can ever interact with anything else, then perhaps the story of stars will truly be over. But we are not there yet. We are in the age of stars, the age when galaxies shine with billions of suns, when nebulae give birth to new stars every year, when the cycle continues, because the material ejected by supernovae does not disappear. It disperses into space. It mixes with the interstellar medium. It becomes part of new nebulae, and those nebulae give birth to new stars. Each generation of stars is enriched with heavier elements from previous generations. The first stars, formed shortly after the Big Bang, contained only hydrogen and helium, no carbon, no oxygen, no iron. They could not form rocky planets. They could not support life as we know it. But those first stars lived and died. They created heavier elements. They exploded as supernovae. They seeded space with the materials needed for planets, for chemistry, for complexity. Our sun is a third-generation star, perhaps. It formed from material that had already been through at least 2 cycles of stellar birth and death. The elements in our bodies, in the earth, in everything around us, have been through multiple stars, forged in stellar cores, scattered by stellar death, recycled by the universe. This is the cycle. This is the story. Birth, life, death, and rebirth, over and over, for billions of years, for as long as hydrogen remains to fuel stars, for as long as gravity can pull clouds together, for as long as the universe allows. And what does this mean for us? We are temporary, brief. Our lives are a tiny flicker compared to the life of a star. We live for decades. Stars live for billions of years. We burn out quickly. Stars burn slowly, patiently, for timescales we cannot truly comprehend. And yet, we are here. We are aware. We can look up at the night sky and understand what we are seeing. We can trace the life cycles of stars. We can recognize that we are made of their remnants. We can feel a connection to the cosmos that goes beyond understanding, a sense of belonging to something vast, something ancient, something ongoing. The stars will continue long after we are gone. They were here long before we arrived. They will shine for billions of years after humanity is forgotten. They do not notice us. They do not care about us. They simply burn, follow the laws of physics, transform matter and energy, create and destroy. And in their patient, mindless process, they create the conditions for everything we know, for planets, for chemistry, for life, for consciousness, for the awareness that allows us to look back at them and wonder. You are made of stars. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is literal truth. The atoms in your body were forged in stellar cores. You are ancient. You are cosmic. You are the universe experiencing itself. And just as stars are born, live and die, so do you. Your life follows a cycle too. A beginning, a middle, an end, growth, stability, decline, transformation. But you are also different from stars. You are aware of your cycle. You can reflect on it. You can find meaning in it. You can choose how to spend your brief time. A star cannot choose. It simply burns, follows the script written in the laws of physics, lives out its predetermined path. But you can choose. You can create. You can love. You can wonder. You can rest. And tonight, right now, you are resting. Your body is still. Your mind is quiet. Your breath is slow and steady, like a star in the main sequence, burning steadily, maintaining equilibrium. You are in a moment of balance, a moment of peace, a moment of simply being. There is nothing to do, nothing to achieve, nothing to become. Just this moment, this breath, this quiet resting in the flow of time. The stars are shining above you, even if you cannot see them. Billions of stars in our galaxy alone. Billions of galaxies in the observable universe, each one containing billions of stars. An incomprehensible number, an infinite seeming multitude, all of them burning, all of them following their cycles, all of them transforming matter and energy, all of them participating in the great cosmic dance. And you are part of that dance, not separate from it, not outside it, but woven into it, made from it, expressing it, living it. So rest now, let go. Allow yourself to dissolve into the vastness, into the patience, into the slow, eternal rhythms of the cosmos. You are a wave in the ocean of existence. You rise, you crest, you fall. But the ocean continues. The water remains. The cycle persists. Stars teach us patience. They teach us that transformation takes time, that endings are also beginnings, that death feeds life, that nothing is permanent, yet nothing is truly lost. The material that makes you will continue after you are gone. It will return to the earth. It will cycle through soil, through water, through air. It will become part of other living things, other forms, other expressions of matter and energy dancing together. Just as the material in you has been cycling for billions of years, through stars, through space, through planets, through countless organisms. You are not new. You are ancient, recycled, renewed. And this thought, this recognition, can bring a strange peace, a letting go, a release from the illusion of permanence, from the fear of ending, because you cannot end. Not really. You can only transform, change form, cycle back into the great process, return to the source, like a star becoming a nebula, becoming a new star, like matter and energy dancing through endless permutations, never created, never destroyed, only changing, only flowing, only being. So let yourself flow now. Let yourself rest. Let the boundaries soften. Let the edges blur. Let the separation between you and the universe dissolve. You are not separate from the stars. You are not different from the cosmos. You are it. You are this. You are the universe resting, breathing, existing, being. And in this moment, there is only peace, only stillness, only the quiet knowing that everything is exactly as it should be. The stars are burning. The universe is expanding. Time is flowing. And you are here, now, part of it all, floating in the cosmic ocean, resting in the eternal present. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to become. Just this, just now, just being. The life of a star is long, your life is short, but both are part of the same cycle. Both are expressions of the same universe. Both are sacred. Both are temporary. Both are eternal. Rest now, traveler. Rest in the knowledge that you are held by something larger than yourself, something ancient, something patient, something that will continue long after you are gone. The universe cradles you. The cosmos embraces you. The same forces that form stars are present in you. The same energy that lights the galaxies flows through you. You are home. You have always been home. You will always be home. Because home is not a place. Home is this moment, this breath, this being, this existing as part of the great unfolding. Rest in this. Breathe in this. Let go into this. The stars are with you. The universe is with you. Everything is with you. Because everything is you. And you are everything. Safe travels, friend.